Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Proactive Parent Podcast. Today I have Miss Michelle Harvey, author of Financial Literacy. Not literacy, literacy. She talk about the ABCs of finance, learning the language of money. So it's letters. It's the ABCs, literacy, right?
Yes, we teach financial literacy using the letters of the alphabet. We teach the toddlers. So I thought literacy was a good play on literacy,
I
and it
like
was
it. I like it.
different.
It's clever and it's catchy and
Thanks.
it's memorable.
Thanks. I prayed about a name, and that's the one I got. So we trademarked
Very
it.
nice. Trademark, very nice.
Mhm.
So, did you have a chance to go through the quiz, the four parenting styles quiz? What
I
was your
did.
results?
I thought the quiz was amazing, first of all. Wait, let me back up. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm glad to have this conversation with you. I've watched a lot of your podcasts. I've watched this show, and I always think it's really interesting and dynamic conversations. So I'm excited to be a part of it. But back to the quiz. The quiz was excellent. It was very well done. I can tell you worked really hard on it. My result was the adventurer parent.
yeah,
So apparently, I like a party, which I didn't. I wouldn't have been able to say that about myself before I had a parent. Um, but fortunately, I have a little baby Sagittarius, and their core need is adventure. So I don't know, maybe I adapted my parenting style to her, or maybe my personality just fits well with hers. I don't know.
yeah. A lot of time, characteristics, a lot of them are hereditary. So we inherit some of our parents' characteristics anyway, just through DNA. But do
She's
you
a lot
think
like
that,
her dad.
like,
She's a lot like me, but she's a lot like her dad too.
okay, yeah. Do you think that the description was pretty accurate of an adventurer parent?
I do. I think it was accurate. Interestingly, it told me that I needed to find rhythms instead of strict routines. And that's kind of what I do. Ever since she was born, I would I wasn't necessarily looking at the clock. Like when you leave the hospital with the baby, they
Hmm.
tell you that the baby needs to sleep between this time and this time and eat between this time and this time. And that following those strict rules, looking at the clock didn't work for me.
Yeah,
But following her natural rhythm of eating and sleeping every couple hours did actually work for me.
yeah.
So we just try to incorporate that. But yeah, I think the results were pretty accurate. I thought it would call me a nurturer parent, but apparently
I mean, it give
not
you
as
a
much.
rank. It show you all four, and it's like, what does the priority of each one? So, like, what's the one used the most, all the way down to the one used the least. But
Yes,
everybody do everything.
yes.
Yeah.
The other three had me in the like 61, 62 percentage. The adventurer one was like 92.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah.
So, parents, if you heard that the results are pretty accurate. If you haven't taken your parenting style quiz, I highly recommend you do it. You can go to parents with an S, parents.devintrent.com, take your parenting style quiz, and find out the pros and cons, how you can lean into the pros and overcome the cons. Okay, so let's get into the episode.
Okay.
Michelle, can you tell the audience a little bit about your background? How old were your parents when you were born? Do you think that played a part? Do you have any siblings? Tell us a little bit about your background.
I am the middle child, so I might
Okay.
have a teeny bit of middle child syndrome. But I'm the middle child of two people. My parents were married when they had us. They are still married today. So they've been married 30 plus year, a long time. They've been married a
Yeah.
long time. I think they were in their late 20s. So I think my parents were 27 or 28 when they had me.
Okay.
My dad was a career military professional,
Okay.
so they were pretty stable. Like they both grew up in Christian faith-based households. So maybe their age played a range. They were a little bit older, like they weren't teen parents or anything. They
Right.
were a little bit older, a little bit established in their like lives. So we got parented like that. I have an older sister by a year, and then I have a younger brother by a year and some change. So
Okay.
that is my family of origin.
Okay. Um, let's go to the second one. Do you think you were raised in like a very structured home, or was it more freedom?
It was very structured. Again, my dad was military.
Yeah,
He ran his household like that.
yeah,
So it was very much scheduled and routinized and orderly. It was super clean. Saturday mornings was our time to clean the house. So he used to go through with the white glove
wow,
and run his finger along the baseboards, make sure our beds, there's a military way you fold your bed
yeah,
with the creases. We folded our beds like that. Like it was it was like that. It
yeah,
was super strict, super disciplinary. We went to church, we did all the things. But yeah, he didn't play around. And my mother it let him lead. It was his home.
follow his
And
lead. How did you feel about that? How did you feel about having so much structure?
I didn't love it.
Yeah,
I think structure is fine. I think boundaries are good. I think part of structure brings stability. So the fact that so I had a military upbringing, which means we moved around all over the place.
mm,
But my feeling is that I had a very stable upbringing. I had a very stable home
yeah,
because while the address might have changed, the five of us were a nuclear family and the structure of the family was the same each house we lived in. So I feel like my childhood was super stable. As I grew up and grew to like know my own voice and have my own opinions, there wasn't room for my opinion. There
yeah,
wasn't room for my voice. And so I didn't love it. I didn't love it at all.
yeah.
I
Did
couldn't wait to leave home is how much I didn't love it. Like I wanted to go. And so I knew I was loved. There wasn't a lot of like I knew I was safe. I knew I was loved. I thought about running away one time when I was like, I don't know, 12 or something. Maybe I had a fight with my parents or something like that.
yeah,
And so I sat on my edge of my bed and I'm like, I'm gonna run away. And then I'm like, where am I go? I'm the safest place that I could possibly like none of my friends have any I'm the safest place I could ever be.
right.
I'm gonna stay here. So that was my conclusion.
I actually ran away one time back in the
You did.
90s. Yeah.
Where did you
I
go?
I ran away to my aunt's house across the train tracks, and eventually my mom came in there. She caught me. I got to beat him for that. So I think my aunt beat me too. Then my mother came over.
I'm sorry. That's awful. You got it two times.
Yeah, I got it two times for running away.
Yeah.
But okay. So what's one rule or routine you hated growing up that you swore you would never enforce as a parent, and how has that played out in your household?
I I I don't know that I made any solid resolves as I was growing up. When I moved out, I knew I wanted to have a say in my own life. Like I was kind of tired of like following everybody else's directions. And I wanted to be grown. I wanted all the things that come with being an adult that people complain about are things that I quite enjoy. I remember when I first got my first electricity bill, it was like BG&E or Pepco or one of those.
Yeah.
I was like, finally, my own bill with my own name. I mean, I got my own place and my own control over my own self. So I don't know that I made any strict resolves. One thing that I thought I was going to repeat was the corporal punishment. You mentioned your aunt and your mama beat you. I thought I was going to do that. And then when I had a baby and I started studying parenting and I started reading books and going to different conferences and things like that, I read the research on how harmful that is. So I don't do that. And I don't let anybody else do it either. So um, I don't hit my child. And the
Right.
rule is we don't hit the child. So anybody whose presence she's going to be in, which has really only ever been my immediate family. So my dad, my mom, and my sister. My brother lives in Texas, so he just lives far away from us. But we don't hit the child is the rule of mine.
Yeah.
And that is enforced.
I just recently ran across a book today, Punishment Free Parenting by John Fogel. You ever heard of that?
I have heard of I haven't heard of the book, but I think I have a punishment-free parenting style.
Yeah. I just ran across I just ordered it today. Should be here tomorrow. So
Okay.
d dive into it and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, I
I'm
think I'll get
open-minded.
it. I think I'll get it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I ran across them on Instagram. It looks interesting, so I went and bought it.
Okay.
Would you say you prioritize freedom over structure in your parenting? What do you think that teaches your child about life? Prioritizing if you prioritize freedom over structure.
I do prioritize freedom over structure. I made another rule for myself. It's not a rule, but my thought process is I'm not going to be fussing in my own house. And I'm
Mm,
not going to be upset in my own house. This is my house too. So I get to have a peaceful environment here. And so I don't do a lot of fussing, arguing, yelling. This is my home and this is going to be a peaceful situation here. So I do prioritize freedom over structure because it is not, I just don't know what I would be trying to prove and to whom I would be trying to prove it by enforcing a whole lot of unnecessary structure. I actually don't have a military background. I have a nonprofit background, which means that in my work, everything kind of all meshes together and we just kind of manage it all and we manage it as a team. Everybody does everybody's job. We have a mission and we are all working on that together. And so my leadership style at work is a lot how I lead my home. And so, yeah, I prioritize her freedom, my freedom. I want her to be able to be free and express herself. That's something that I didn't get as a child. I didn't get a say, I didn't get an opinion, and if I dared to open my mouth, it was considered backtalk or disrespectful. Or rebellion. Like I got tagged rebellious quite a bit by my dad. So I am rebellious because I got an opinion about what I want to do with my own life. I don't know about that.
yeah.
I don't I don't burden her with any of those labels. She doesn't have to be anybody who other than who she is. She didn't have to perform for me to love her. She didn't have to do anything for me to love her and take care of her. I look at all of that as freedom. Does she ride her bike in the house also? Sure, because I mean, I don't care. Um, she scooters back and forth in the kitchen on her scooter. I mean, I don't care. Maybe when she's older, she's 5 right now. So maybe when she's older, it'll become dangerous because her body will outgrow the space that we have.
Yeah.
So then we'll take her scooter outside and take her bike outside. But while she has been a toddler and she's a little kid now, I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care. She can. So I prioritize freedom because that works for me. And what do I think she's gonna? I think you asked the question about what type of adult I think that's gonna make.
Yeah, so how does prioritizing freedom over structure, what do you think that teaches your child about life?
That she can be herself in it. That she didn't have to just because somebody has a box for her, don't mean she got to step into it. So she can be out of the box. She can think out of the box. She doesn't have to conform to be liked or to be accepted. She doesn't have to mute or shrink herself in order to navigate the world. I think it teaches her that she can there's space for her. There's room for her in this world, and she can take up space and she can be free. So hopefully, it teaches her that she doesn't have to earn anybody's approval because she already had it the whole time. And when she does run into somebody who doesn't approve, who thinks she should act a certain way, who thinks she should be a certain way, she can assess on whether or not that's an environment she wants to be in because she's already wholly and fully accepted. So hopefully that is what she learns.
How do you feel about structure overall? Do you have, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much structure do you teach your daughter?
When you say structure, what do you mean?
Like rules. Are there rules in your home?
No, not meaning. I don't want her to hurt herself. I don't want her to hurt anybody else. I want us to care for like mankind and human beings.
Hmm.
So we don't hurt animals when we go outside and play. I tell her to watch the ants, well, like be careful of the ants. This is their home.
Yeah.
We protect the earth. We are kind to other people. Outside of that, I'm hard pressed to think of a like real rule. I don't have there's not a certain time we eat dinner. There's not a certain time there that she has to go to bed. There's not a certain time that she really has to wake up in the morning. I work from home and I homeschool, and my childcare is my parents. So primarily my mom watches her. My mom lives less than 10 minutes away. And so sometimes my mom comes here to watch her, or sometimes she goes over my parents' house. Um, and we do that when she wakes up. Like
Yeah.
when, so maybe I'll get some work done. I have a schedule. So maybe I'll have meetings or whatever, but I don't, that doesn't mean that because I have a meeting at 10 or 9 or whatever, doesn't mean that she has to get out of bed. I just let her sleep and I go do my things.
So you don't have many rules at your home?
No.
How do you think this will mold her to be in the real world outside of your home where there are a lot of rules and there's a lot of structure?
So there's rules when we go places, right? Like she can't climb on the furniture at the store, or she can't, I don't know, scooter around in the bank. So there's rules of society in church. When we go to church, we sit there and we be quiet. And we, so there's rules of society, but home is home. So I don't have to make my home a replica of the real world.
But eventually she's
It's
going to leave your
not.
home.
She
I'm sure
is,
she's going
and
to grow
she'll
up.
create her own home. And in her own home, it should be safety and freedom and space for her to be. So I'm not trying to replicate the real world in my home. It's home.
Yeah,
And I'm mother, like I'm mom. I don't have to try to be the real world because there's nobody who can be her mother. So that's not a role that I need to, it's no competition with the rest of the world. Her boss is not going to be her mother. And I mean, it might be if she works for the family business, but her teachers are not going to be her mother. So I get to be the supreme nurturing being in her life because that's my role.
yeah.
And I don't have to not do my job as mother because I'm trying to make up for some unforeseen threat in the future.
Unforeseen threat. You don't, I mean, because I feel you with the allowing her to be herself and how when you were a kid you didn't there wasn't space for you to talk and you being labeled as rebellious and being squashed like a bug. Like there was a movie Ants where
Yeah.
there was a scene he was talking about if we let one of them rise up, all the rest of them going to rise up. We got to make sure we squash them down, keep them down so they don't rise up.
Hmm.
But also on the flip side, like how we talked about on the pre-interview, we
Hmm.
talked about um a few words kept popping up. Shame, guilt, proactive. But this coming back to this topic of structure, when will she learn how to have a routine or have structure outside of the home? If home is where you model it, home is the first school. Home, mom is the one who's teaching her. When will mom ever teach her? Is it better to learn it now or later?
I'm not seeing where she lacks structure though, because we come home around, like we have the routine. We
Hmm.
wake up, we make breakfast together, we sit down together, we eat breakfast. We do some activity. Usually I like to, when her needs are met, then I can work for a little bit. So when I've spent maybe a few minutes of quality time with her in the morning, she doesn't interrupt me throughout the day when I'm working. Or she'll be able to sit down here and play while I do some work because she's had that sort of primary connection already. We eat the same, not the same dinner, but we eat dinner around the same time every night. We do go to bed around the same time every night. It's probably much later than other parents put their kids into bed, but
Hmm.
she wakes up around the same time every morning. Like, I'm not seeing where there's a lack of structure. She doesn't have people in and out of her life who like there's not a bunch of men coming through here. There's not
Yeah.
danger. She lives in a safe neighborhood with a safe person. My mental health is not a struggle, and I know some people's is, and I completely respect that, but I don't struggle in my emotional stability. She has so I'm not seeing where she lacks structure. She just don't have a lot of rules.
That's cool. Well, I'm up. So I got 11 questions here.
Okay, sorry.
We at number
Okay.
five. No, that's on me. I went on the sidebar. Let's get to question five. What was one of the toughest lessons you had to learn the hard way that could have been avoided if you had better guidance?
So I think my toughest lessons have probably been around money
Mm.
and having it, managing it, keeping it has been a real lesson to learn. Uh, I, which is why I teach financial literacy to little kids. Like as soon as they start learning language, my goal is to insert money language in there. So yes, A can be for Apple, but A can also be for asset and B can be for bank and things like that. So I think my struggles around money have been the biggest, just like trying to navigate it. So one of the so again, it's why I wanted to teach her very early and just language, like not necessarily that credit is bad or credit is good. None of that is what I'm trying to do. It's just here's what the word credit means.
Yeah.
And so I've had guidance and I've had a lot of guidance in my financial journey and in my life. And also I can this is I don't at the risk of how this sounds. I don't ask for a lot of guidance. I don't, I think learning is fine. I think experience is fine. Sometimes I want to do what I want to do and I'll go try the thing that I want to do. And if it don't work, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And I actually enjoy learning. So have I wasted time getting experience when somebody could have just told me don't do that? Yes. Do we always listen to people though when they tell us don't do that?
Yeah, that's true.
No, we
No,
don't.
we don't always listen.
But what you get from the experience is context. And I'm a huge fan of context because when you have the experience, then you know you like, "Ooh, that's why I wasn't supposed to do that."
Yeah.
But you don't know if you don't try. And so I'm not about to go around my life asking this person what they think, asking that person what they think, gathering a bunch of opinions. I'm not about that life. I'm gonna go
At
out
all?
there. Not, no, I ask for advice. You know, when I ask for advice, if I've tried something already and I'm finding that I tried it a couple times and it didn't work, I like to bring to a mentor to say, hey, I've been trying this and it has not worked. But my first inclination is to try. My first inclination is not to ask.
What was the toughest situation that you ran into where you kept trying it and it didn't work and you had to get some guidance?
Yeah, so the money thing
Oh, the
is
money
something
thing.
that like you get a lot of money and you spend it all. You get
Yeah.
a little bit of money and you spend it all. In my career, my salary has continued to go up and up and up, but my savings have not caught up with the it
Income.
hasn't been proportional to
Yeah.
the that is something that I've had to get feedback on and read a lot of books about and things like that. So even choosing my daughter's father was a tough lesson that I learned. And then people gave me their advice about him after we broke up. But like a lot of help, that is now we got
Right.
a baby together.
But they didn't say anything beforehand?
They sort of hinted beforehand. I think they recognize my personality is not, I've always been the type that's going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I
How,
don't,
how has that worked? How has that played out for you throughout life? Because
I think, go
what you
ahead.
about to say?
No, wait, you say what she was about to say. I remember mine.
I agree. So people say experience is the best teacher. Sometimes,
Right.
but it depends on whose experience and what lesson is being learned and how catastrophic or not. If you making a recipe and you put too much sugar in it, that's fine. That's something easy you can bounce back from. That's a lesson you can learn from experience. But a lesson that you don't want to learn from experience is like driving drunk or not wearing your seatbelt. You want to learn that lesson from somebody else's experience, not your own. Especially when you're a parent and other people are relying on you. You don't want to learn everything through experience. I think it's inefficient and it's unwise to learn tough lessons through your own experience. Now, small lessons, fine, but big
Mhm.
stuff, I don't agree with that.
Okay, sure. I don't know. I can't. I'm super calculated and I try to every scenario I can imagine, I imagine it before I do anything. And if I decide that it's worth the risk, I'll take the risk. what I have learned is I can trust myself. The thing about me is the decisions I've made, I be right. I don't always make the perfect decision, but I have a track record of being right enough that I can trust myself, which is another thing that I want to teach my daughter, that she can trust herself. And so because I want her to learn that she can trust herself. She can trust her intuition. She can trust what her body is telling her. She can trust her, like the body is the house of the subconscious or unconscious or whatever you want to call it. You can
Mm.
call it her intuition or Holy Spirit or whatever. But her inner being, I refer to it sometimes. She can trust the thing in her that's telling her to do whatever. I have to model that. So I have a lot of trust in myself. I have made a lot of good decisions. I've made some not good ones, I guess.
Let's talk about the not good ones, because that's where you learn from problems. You
But
don't
it's
learn
fine.
from
Like, I
hanging
don't
around
care
yes
if I
men.
have to learn. If I spend all my money and mess up all my credit, okay, it's money. You can get money back and you can rebuild your credit score. Has my credit score been in the toilet? Yes. 600 something was like maybe like low, like that's pretty bad. So when I was younger, my credit score was in the toilet. My credit score is no longer down there because I learned. Okay, like I don't have a problem with taking risks. I don't have a problem with losing. I don't have a problem with failing. Even my business venture right now, I've literally took my life savings and put it all into these into what I'm doing. Literally the money that I've been saving for my whole career. I
Wow.
have put 100% of it in this endeavor. If it don't work, I put the money in the account to save it. I can put some more money into the account to get it back. Like I'm not scared. I'm not scared of life. I'm not scared of risks. I don't commit crimes or, use illegal substances. So there's some buffers around my life.
Yeah.
Like it's only going to get so bad. I hope, like I pray that look, my rock bottom is not the last possible rock bottom there is, but I'm not scared of losing. I'm not scared of learning. I'm not scared of taking a risk. I'm not scared of my daughter losing. I don't want her to hurt herself or to hurt anyone else. But if she learns a tough lesson because she didn't listen to me, okay, she got her own path. That's fine. She can learn.
Yeah, I mean, I agree up until the extent, like you said, safety. When I go back to
Yeah.
the analogy of the car accident, I don't need to learn to wear my seatbelt through experience.
But have you been into a car accident before?
I've been in a car accident, yeah.
Okay, you learn. So
But
now
I
you're
learned, I
like,
learned, I learned beforehand. I learned to wear my seatbelt beforehand, not after.
yes,
Not
but
after I fly through the windshield.
that didn't prevent you from being into an accident.
It prevent the
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 collision was
amount the
not,
amount of
yes,
harm.
amount of damage. Yeah. So we just teach our kids to put on her seatbelt. That's fine.
Yeah, to be proactive.
100%. I'm a planner. I'm a person of intention. I pay monthly into an account for my 5-year-old's grandchildren.
Oh, very good.
Already, like this has been going on for years.
Yeah,
I'm nothing about this is arbitrary, but because something is intentional doesn't mean it has to be restrictive. It doesn't mean it has to be suffering involved.
yeah. Let's get to question 6. So we got 5 more. Was there ever a moment where you gave your child too much freedom and it backfired? What did you learn from that?
Okay, so yes, there was a one instance that comes to mind is we when we come home, she likes to play with the garage door opener. So she likes to open the garage herself. So I get the garage door opener and I hand it back to her. This time, when I was backing into the garage, I really just wanted to back into the garage, get out the car, and go in the house. But she kept going on about how she wanted to do the garage opener. So I gave her the garage opener, and she was pressing the button while I was backing into the garage.
Ooh,
So the garage door came down on my car.
wow.
It broke the garage door, broke the car. So it knocked there was the antenna piece off the top of the car. The garage door knocked that off. And so that was a lesson because I had to pay to get the garage, like pay to get the car fixed. Like it was just I should not have done that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't know that the lesson was about freedom so much as it was about alignment. Like I wanted to say no, so I should have just said no. Instead, I went against what was aligned for me and did and let her play. So I don't know. So what the lesson was when I feel no, because I don't very often necessarily. So when I feel no and I feel to say no, the lesson was just say no. You was right. Like your intuition was spot on when you should not have given her the garage door opener.
Yeah.
So my lesson wasn't to restrict her so much as to restrict myself and to come up with a boundary with myself to let my no be no when it's
Do,
no.
do you think she should learn the same lesson?
She will. She'll have a similar natural consequence. And she don't ask to do the garage door thing anymore. So because she was in the car when it hit. So
Mm,
she had a oops, like I did that. Like there's not a lot of we don't have to have a verbal conversation about what just happened. She saw what happened.
yeah. But I'm saying, okay, you say she'll have a natural consequence, but how, but there's no way of knowing how dangerous it's going to be. Your situation was a car, and you got the
Mhm.
finances to fix that.
Mhm.
Many parents don't have finances to fix something like that. And then for when you say your child will learn through a natural consequence, you don't know. It might not be a garage door. It may be something more hurtful.
Yes, what I'm hearing is danger. Like, what if something bad happens? I don't parent from that place. Maybe it's because I had my child when I was 40. I was already established in my career. I was already C-suite. I'm a COO currently in my employment job. I had already taken care of meeting my basic needs. So there's some privilege in having her late, and in having an already stable situation before she got here,
Mm,
like a financially stable situation before she got here. Maybe it's from that place, but I don't walk around life being scared of what will happen. So I don't walk around life guarded against what will happen. I follow my intuition if my which I have learned that I can trust. So if I have a desire to go somewhere and I say, I don't know if I want to go there today, I take that as gospel. I take that as my intuition telling me don't go there for whatever reason. So I haven't experienced a lot because I'm spirit led. I don't, maybe there's been things that have been traumatic and dangerous or whatever. And also, I haven't been traumatized to the point where I'm walking around life afraid. So I don't parent from what if something bad happens.
I hear you.
You
We
know
talked.
what?
We,
Can I just say one more thing?
sure.
Because that is not inherent. I work very hard on my input. My input is I think you're thinking God's your life. And so you have to tell yourself what to think. So I have an app on my phone called the Self-Talk app. The Self-Talk app is by Dr. Shad Helmstetter. Is it is different recordings of you speaking to yourself or him speaking to you in first person. So
Hmm.
like I am a winner, I am safe, I am successful, whatever it is. Hundreds and hundreds of affirmations, hours upon positive thinking going in your ear. I have stuff like that playing 24/7. When I go to sleep, I have the app turned down, or even YouTube. If I'm listening to something, I have affirmations going all the time. I read positive material in my Bible sometimes or listening to sermons one line. This is intentional. The fact that I can look out at life and be optimistic about it, about my possibility, about my safety, about whatever, means that I can teach my daughter to do the same thing because all of us are not walking around with the same thought process. And so to not be afraid, you have to do something. You have to make that happen. And
Yeah.
so I think what you say to yourself matters and how you think about life matters, how you think about finances or anything like that. You program yourself to move yourself forward. You don't have to live a fear-based, shame-based existence. I don't have to necessarily guard my child against what might happen that is bad. In my opinion, if I can strengthen her relationship to her intuition, Like we're female beings. So that is our protection. That is our superpower. If I can cultivate and strengthen her relationship to her spirit, that's the thing that I can do to help guide her life, her success, her safety, her relationships, all of that.
Gotcha.
Feel me?
I feel you.
Okay.
Well, when we had our when we did our talk the other day, we said something about, you said me saying no what saved 20 minutes, but sometimes those 20 minutes create a ripple effect. Can you think of a time when the small decision led to a challenge down the road? We were talking about saying no. You talking about going for a walk and she want to go do something and get distracted. Instead of saying no, you're like, well, if I say no, we're just gonna save 20 minutes? Whatever. Let's go take the little side adventure.
Yes.
Has that ever led to a ripple effect?
Not one of consequence. So if I was late, maybe I had a meeting and I wanted to get home in front of my computer to do my meeting, but she wanted to go to the playground. I'll just take the meeting from the playground. Like both of us can do both of our things and we still make it happen. So maybe I don't want to do the meeting from the playground. I want to be at home on my computer. Maybe I'll be late. Maybe I'll move the meeting, or maybe I'll say, I got a meeting, we can go after my meeting is done. So let's go home, do mommy's meeting. As soon as that's over, we can go to the playground. But it's not a when I hear I want to play outside, I hear her body needs sunlight, her body needs movement, her body needs, like, you get energy from being in the sun.
Yeah.
Never mind the vitamins and things like that. Like, we're melanated people. We need to be in the sun. She'll get to be in nature. She'll get to, like, I see her being outside at the playground getting her needs met. I'm not going to deny her that because I got something else I want to do or I'm busy.
Mm.
So I'm very much a we can do both things. So I can't remember a time. The times that I most remember are it working out.
Yeah.
Maybe my boss was late. So if so, my boss will send 5 minutes, like, give me 5 minutes, or let's push this back 30 minutes or whatever. I'd be like, sweet, because I was at the playground anyway. So, so I find that it works out and I have a happy child. And because she asks for something, that generally means she needs what she's asking for. Just because she can't articulate it or make me understand her needs doesn't invalidate them. So I listen to her. I listen to her all the time. She's the one who's in the body that has a need. Like, she would know more than me.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you one more quick story. When she
Yeah.
was a baby, I made a smoothie and I was giving her the smoothie. The people on the internet say you're supposed to let your child try different foods, so that their palate can increase, so you don't have a picky eater on your hands. So
Mm.
maybe she was like 8 or 9 months, like she wasn't verbal yet. So I made a smoothie that has strawberries in it, and I put it up to her mouth with a straw, and I said, "Here." And she said, and then I said, okay. I waited a second longer. Then I said, here. And so she was like, mm-mm. And so I'm like, well, the people on the internet say you're supposed to, keep trying. So I'm in my mind, I'm listening to the people on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I handed her the smoothie one more time and she finally drank it. Not even 10 minutes later, her whole body was covered in bumps, like red, little red bumps. Her whole body
Allergic.
allergic reaction to these strawberries. My takeaway was, damn it, she said that she didn't want the strawberry. She said she didn't want it. I
Yeah.
should listen to her. And now we in the doctor's office because I'm panicked about this allergic reaction to these strawberries. Her whole body was covered in these little red, like, bumps. If I had just listened to her in the first place, she wouldn't have had that allergic reaction.
Yeah.
Learned that she'd be knowing what she'd be talking about.
Yeah.
I have multiple times where I have said, where that has happened, something like that has happened, not as catastrophic, but she be right. And she's worth listening to. And I can trust her intuition just like I can trust mine.
Yeah. That was a good story.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because she don't know. Maybe she smelled it. I don't know, but she didn't want the smoothie. And this was before I taught her to speak. Like, she didn't have no words.
Right. Interesting. Looking back at the last year, is there a moment where you now wish you had enforced more structure, even though it would have been uncomfortable at the time?
I don't care. Like, is it inconvenient? Absolutely. Is it inconvenient to have to stop and go do something I don't want to do because she wants to do it? 100% yes. Parenting overall is inconvenient though. Like, who signs up to be a parent and then wants an easy go of it? Like that don't make no sense. So maybe, but I don't care. Like nothing, it all has been fine. The times where it hasn't worked out, I don't even remember. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. Now I got three more questions here.
Uh-huh.
There's in my head, I got two ways we could do this.
Okay.
How much time you got?
I got time.
Okay. I think we'll finish these three questions and then get to what I really want to get to. Cause I got these questions lined up
But if you want to skip to where you really want to be, then that's fine too.
because I'm also thinking we don't learn from yes men. When you got people around that just agree, 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 you don't learn from that. You learn from conflict. You learn from obstacles. You can't lift 200 pounds unless you have 200 pounds to lift. You need
Mhm.
resistance.
Okay.
A lot of this interview has been everything's fine and it's all good. Where is the
Mhm.
conflict? Where's the problems that we can learn from?
The conflict comes in because all of this does take time. So I saw one of your other interviews where you said you asked the um,
Person.
person, do you experience a lot of guilt, like a lot of mom guilt? My conflict comes because I don't have mom guilt. I have guilt about everything else. I have guilt about not showing up like I usually do on my job. I have guilt about projects that I'm working on being stalled. I I sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night because I gotta get my work in somehow. And while I'm at the playground playing with my child, my work ain't getting done.
Yeah.
So I have to, after she goes to bed, then that's when I have to actually get to work. So I don't sleep a lot, like ever, which is a problem. But what do you do? So I don't have a conflict-free life. It's just I don't have a conflict-free parenting. By prioritizing motherhood, that means I deprioritize everything else, everybody else, friendships, relationships, work. That is problematic when my boss is asking me something for the third time that I would have in the past had before she even asked me. So where she wouldn't have had to ask at all.
Hmm.
Now she has to ask multiple times because I'm doing something else. So there is conflict and there is resistance. I just there's a cost to living your priorities. And uh this is the path that I have chosen, right? So I just told you I spent my life savings invested in my business. So like there's the conflict of okay, this startup gotta start turning some profit soon, else what am I gonna do if I lose my job? Like like I'm not saying my life is perfect. It just is these are the choices that I have made, and I have made these choices weighing the consequences.
Yeah. What lessons, if another parent came to you and said, I just want to let my kid do their own thing, what would you say to help them avoid some of the hard lessons you had to learn?
I would just say be clear on what you're doing. I'm letting my child do her own thing. Mind you, I'm right there. So when I give my child freedom, I'm not abandoning her and I'm not leaving her to the world's devices. I'm literally standing right there. So if she falls, like physically, I reach my arm out and catch her before she falls. I'm literally physically right there.
Yeah.
So there's a I guess maybe a danger there that's not actually present. Like there's a perceived danger there that's not actually there.
But what's she gonna do
And
when you're
if
not there? You're not always gonna be there.
one of the good pieces of advice that I live by is parent the child in front of you.
Elaborate, please.
She's 5. I'm there, right?
But
But
eventually
when
she's gonna
she's
be 15.
15, but she's not 15 right now. So I'm parenting a 5-year-old as if she's 5, knowing that she'll be 15 one day. she'll she won't need me as in the same way that she needs me right now. She'll need me differently. And so because I've met her 5-year-old needs, and her 6-year-old needs and her 1-year-old needs. We spend our whole adult lives chasing things we didn't get in our childhood. My experiment with my child is what if she actually, what kind of person would I raise if I do actually meet her needs? Not just food and shelter, but her emotional needs, her connection needs, her needs to be understood. What kind of person am I putting out in the world who has their needs met? She's not chasing this or chasing that or chasing a sense of approval. So what I would say to other parents is if you must have a reason why you want your child to do whatever, because most parents want to control their children. So for the parent who does want their child to experience freedom, I would just say you got to adjust your schedule accordingly so you can be there to catch them if they fall. A lot of parenting advice centers around you being available when they get home from school and just being there, like being in the living room. So, like when teenagers like to come home, they like to close their door and process. When that door opens, you better be somewhere where they can find you so that you can guide their day and so you can advise their thought process and you can teach them how to navigate at school or at home or wherever they are. Most parents are not physically there. There's like a statistics that say on the average, parents spend about 20 minutes with their kid every day.
Wow.
That is crazy. Like, never mind bath time and dinner and stuff like that, but just like 20 minutes of time with their kid every day because they're off doing their thing. The kid is off doing their thing. That is not conducive to you having influence. You got to physically be there. So if you want your child to do whatever and have whatever freedoms, you must have a reason for that. And you have to adjust accordingly. I have a very child-led experience. So I don't necessarily, is it inconvenient to be up till 4 in the morning working? Yes, it is. And like convenience is not on my
Priority is not top priority.
it is for like grocery delivery and stuff like that. Like I don't know, I don't have time to necessarily go grocery shopping, so I have them delivered. Or like I have my systems around getting my personal needs met and running a household. I have systems involved for that. But be having the convenient, taking the easy route is not important to me.
Mm. Taking the easy route. How about the wise route or the efficient route, the optimal route?
It is optimal. I'm doing what I'm doing because I think it's best. It's not because um I haven't thought about it or I'm just going with the flow. Like this is all very intentional. And it might not be right, but it's what I think is best. So that's what I'm doing. Obviously, it's not optimal to get 4 hours of sleep every night or less. But I mean, I look at it like this is a season. This is not forever. I'm not going to have a startup forever. I'm not going to have a young child forever. I can do it. I'm sleepy, but I can do this.
What do you think your daughter might say 10 years from now about how you handle freedom and responsibility? Is there anything you hope she does not say?
No, I can't parent backwards. Like, I hope she doesn't say, if I feel like there's something I hope she doesn't say, I try to do something about it right now. Like you always say, being proactive. So, like when I got to 12th grade, there was no money for me to go to college. There was no savings, there was no plan, there was no nothing. It was just I woke up one day and nobody had planned anything. I didn't like that. What did y'all think was going to happen as I got older every day?
They was
So
living in the moment. They wasn't thinking about, they was parenting you at the time. They wasn't thinking about your future self. They was thinking about the current Michelle.
I think they was in a little bit of survival mode. There's 5 people living off of one income, and so they were putting food on the table. I have only one person to take care of. So that means I can put food on the table and I can put a little bit away for her college. I'm saying what I wouldn't want her to say is that my mother didn't plan for X, Y, and Z, but I am planning for it.
Mm.
So that experience made me plan for my daughter's college early. So when I think of something that I wouldn't want her to say, what I wouldn't want her to do is say my mother didn't have time for me. Do you know how many people have these horrendous things happen to them because their parents weren't around?
Yeah, I heard some stories.
100% of child abuse cases is because somebody wasn't watching the baby.
Yeah.
100%. Somebody wasn't watching, somebody wasn't alert. So even if the parents of origin did the abuse, where was the other parent? Where
Right.
were the aunties? Where were the siblings? Where were somebody was not doing their job. And so if worse comes to worse and I lose my job because I'm being so negligent, let's just say that. What won't happen is my daughter won't be unwatched. Something won't happen to her because I could get another job. I cannot redo my daughter's childhood. I can get more money. I cannot take away trauma that should have never been there in the first place. So all of the things that are temporary, McKenna first is my mantra. Like McKenna is first before any and all the things. McKenna's first. I can't get enough, she can't get another childhood. And so I try to take care of myself because I have to be there for her. Like there's all these things that come into play with that. But children are ruined because somebody wasn't paying attention. And that somebody is not gonna be me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard some stories. And then the child
And those
grows
are the
up
stories you'd be like, where was your mother? Where was your
at
parents?
work. The mother was at work. And was no other family member. Well, see, sometimes there's a family member who was there to watch them, and they are
The abuser
correct.
or whatever.
And then sometimes it's not a family member, but it's a boyfriend or somebody who's supposed to be watching the child because the mother had to work. They living off of one income, one woman doing all the work by herself.
I
Why
get
was there
that. I
not,
feel
it
like
take two people to make a child. Why are there not two people raising a child?
also agree. You'll find no argument for me there. And I would encourage people to not just accept their situation for what it currently is. I know people who changed their entire careers because they wanted to be closer to their children, because they wanted their children home with them. It is 2025. There are things that you can do to make income where you don't have to leave your house. Will you have to go back to school? I don't know, maybe. Will that also take away from your child? You have to evaluate that. But I would encourage you, viewer, to not just, you don't have to just accept your life the way it is. You can make your life be the way you want it to be. And you don't have to be balling out of control to give yourself some choices. And you don't have to be wealthy beyond belief to give yourself some options. You have to A, think you can do it, and B, just create a little bit of breathing room financially. So I would encourage you to pursue ways that you can do that. You don't have to just take what's handed to you. I say this all the time. I say it to my child, I say it to my young interns at work, to my older colleagues. Just because life has presented you with a certain set of circumstances, you don't got to take that. You can make your life be what you want your life to be. Yes, it'll require some effort. Also, fine. It's fine for you to work hard for the life that you want. Nothing wrong there. So, think about what you would like to have. Think about how you want your child to be raised. Try to do it in a space where you're just brainstorming. So first, put down, list some things of ways that you want your life to be. Your brain can't analyze and create at the same time. So first, just create it. Just put it in the atmosphere, put it on your prayer list, whatever, however you dream, spend some time doing that. You don't even have to work hard for a solution to start to materialize. Life will present an answer to you when you ask the right question. So, if you desire to spend more time with your child and to be more present as a parent, or even to find more joy in parenting, some parents don't actually like their kids and they don't actually like the role of parenting. Um, I sorry, I actually I quite enjoy parenting. Even though it's challenging, it's the most challenging thing you'll ever do. I think that if you can find some joy in it, which is why I parent the way that I am, I parent the way that's conducive to my personality because it's easier to be happy while I'm doing it. So I would just say that.
No, I like it, especially when you said that you can't create and analyze. There's this quote, your mind is like a laundry basket. You don't sort through the clothes while they're in the basket. You got to put them out first and then you
Yeah,
sort them through. You do your
right.
thoughts the same way. Write them down and then you can analyze and sort through them. You can't do it while it's all in your head.
It's easier if you write it down. Yeah,
Yeah, it's easy. Okay, it's easier. Maybe you can, but it's easier.
right.
Um, we talked about. All right, here's the last question on my thing. You said something the other day, which was really good. You said there's not a power struggle because you choose to share the power. What do you say to parents who are afraid of losing control, of sharing the power?
The control that you're trying to enforce is not working anyway. The only thing you're doing is alienating your child. You dictate how do you feel when somebody does that to you? So the challenge is a lot of parents don't see children as whole human beings in and of themselves. A lot of parents see children as like a blank slate for them to mold, like artist clay. Like this is my thing and I get to make and shape this person to be whoever I want to be. But if you think about your own childhood, did that work? Whoever tried to control you, did you respect them? Likely not. Were you trying to look for a way to escape? That's more likely the scenario. When people try to control other people, your tendency is to want to run from that. So you don't have to create that type of lack of connection with your child because your child already knows who they are. They already know what they want to do. I think collaboration is more conducive to relationship. It's important to me that my daughter feels like home is a safe place. And when she's somewhere, maybe she's grown with her own kids and she's, I don't know, in some kind of undesirable situation, I want her to see home as a refuge and a place that she can always come. I don't want to be one of the battles that she got to overcome when she's older. I just don't. I don't want to be a barrier. I don't want to be somebody who she has to go to therapy to try to solve. I don't want her to chase substances because she's really chasing me and my nurture and my care that I didn't give her. I heard a Iyanla Van Zant interview once, and she said, I was a horrible mother. I was a horrible mother, but I was a great father. I don't want my child to say that. I don't want my child to say that I was a horrible mother. I don't want us to have all these things that we got to overcome. That's what control does. You try to control everything and everybody. Just think about your own response to being controlled. Your child feels that too. So maybe you can come up with another tool. And if you think about control, you're just doing that because you're afraid. That's your deal. Why don't you work out why you're afraid and own that for yourself instead of projecting that onto your child? I feel like human beings can't be controlled. You can lead them. So I feel like humans can be led. And so my advice would be to strengthen your leadership instead of using the control aspect.
I like this. Collaborate over control. Is to ask questions instead of making statements. Ask more questions, make less statements. When you make a statement, you're putting it on somebody. When you ask them a question, it's coming out of themselves. You're making them think. When I ask somebody, if you ask somebody a question, they have to think about it. When they come to the answer on their own, they believe it more compared to you throwing it on them. Let them bring it out of themselves. So collaborate by asking questions.
Yeah, I would say that I would also add that if you're being condescending, people can feel that. So if you're saying, do you think that was the smart thing to do or a stupid thing to do? That's a question, but it's also not conducive to collaboration or relationship building. So
Yeah,
you can say, oh, can you tell me about your thought process? What were you thinking when you did this?
yeah.
That's a different kind of question. So I think if you are
So you think
trying
it's
to use a
open-ended
tool,
questions? Is the
hmm,
first question, is that an open-ended question? Do you think that's a smart or dumb? That's a closed-ended question because you only choose one or the other.
but you're also being condescending. You
Right, but I'm
also
saying,
the
I'm saying, would you think
implication
that is?
is that
Go ahead.
you think that was dumb. And so what the child hears is your tone.
Yeah,
So they hear my parent thinks I'm an idiot. But everybody got a reason for everything they do. So
yeah.
just be curious about the reason.
Do you think you can ask open-ended questions in a condescending way? If so, give me an example.
What were you thinking when you did that? Or
Yeah,
so what were you thinking when you did that? Like,
exactly.
like, okay, what we thinking here? What are we thinking? All three of those have a different tone. And
Yeah, the
what the
tone.
child hears, especially when they're young children, is your tone.
Yeah, I like that. That was good, Michelle. When we did our pre-talk, there was a couple quotes that came up that I liked, and some analogies. You gave the analogy, you was teaching the language of money, and you quoted Kanye. You said something about what was that?
not Kanye said having money is not everything. Not having it is.
Not having it is. We was talking about teaching the language of money and being proactive, learning about money now instead of learning about money later. I'm gonna bring that back to the current daughter. Your daughter is 5 years old now. Prepare her for the future. How are you going to prepare her for the future when you're only looking at now?
You can do both. I can have an intention, a future intention, a future vision I want to see, a future goal, and then reverse engineer that to what I'm going to do today to get there. And so I can be present in today and my actions today because I have a future vision in mind. That's how everything is accomplished. That's literally how anything is created. If
Right.
someone's building a chair, they have a picture of the chair in their mind. But today, they might just be chopping the tree down to get the wood.
How do you teach your daughter how to be responsible?
I model it, and then I teach her. So what I like to do is live my life out loud. So I like to explain what I'm doing. I like to explain why I'm doing it. I just like to I like to teach her. I feel like it's my job. So whether so one small example is I like for the house to be clean. There's a certain amount of chaos that kind of comes with little people, but I like for my house to be in order.
Mm,
So one thing that we do is before we leave a room, I like to reset the room. So if we are playing downstairs in our play area, before we go back up to the kitchen, I like to clean all the toys up so that when I come back down to this room, it's not a mess.
mm,
So I reset the room before I leave it. So we do that together. So I'm like, mommy's nervous system needs for this place to be clean. I can't take it. So before we go upstairs, before we start one thing, let's finish this and put this away. So that's how we keep our home clean. That's how I teach her to manage her belongings. That's how I teach her how to, just how we all can live together in the home because
mm,
I can't take it, like all the mess. I also own that that's my nervous system that can't, so I don't make her wrong for being messy. Mommy's nervous system cannot handle these toys everywhere. Before we play another game, let's put this game away. So I think that's teaching two lessons. Like it's not blaming her for me being out of control,
mm,
and she gets to participate in the family. When we take the trash out down to the curb. I give her her trash to carry, I get my trash to carry. We all live here and this is all of our responsibility. So
yeah,
that's like around the home. If we go to the bank or to the farmer's market or to the store, I'm constantly narrating what I'm doing. I'm constantly narrating what I'm thinking. We sat down, we were at the farmer's market the other day, and at the farmer's market, you pay each individual vendor for, like, you pay the produce people for the produce that you bought. And then when you go to the butcher, you pay them. So one time we were sitting down eating our ice cream, and I said, let's add up how much money we spent today. So out loud, I said we spent this at this place, this at this place, this at that place. That totals X number of dollars. And because she knows financial language, she said,
mhm,
"Uh-oh, are we going to overdraft?" And I'm like, "No, we're not going to overdraft because there's money in the bank. But what mommy should have done before I left the house is set a budget of how much money I was going to spend today, because the budget would keep us sort of in line." And so she said, "Oh, okay," because she understands what the words mean now.
yeah,
So that is how I teach responsibility with money. So I'm always like teaching and narrating, because like implied in your question was how are they gonna know? And I think that too. Like just because I'm doing a certain action doesn't mean she's picking up the thought process behind the lesson. And so since I'm teaching her how to think and how to navigate life and how to make decisions, I narrate. I say what I'm thinking while I'm doing it, and I do it
yeah,
out loud.
yeah. How do you feel about if when parents, parents sometimes, well, when I was coming up, I would hear parents say, "Do as I say, not as I do." They don't want to lead by example, but they want to tell you what to do. How do you feel about that? Do as
Yeah.
What you think about that?
My pastor says more is caught than taught. So if they're gonna
Mm.
emulate who I am, that means that most of the parenting work is me and me. So many parents are trying to do outward work with the child when really The work is internal.
Mm, I
So if
agree.
my child triggers me, maybe she throw a toy. Throwing things is like a trigger of mine. It's an emotional trigger. Like I just really would like to spaz. Because I mean, I just completely lose like all kind of reason when you throw things. So, and then toddlers throw like they don't know. They just have not, their brains have not developed to the point where they're connecting the dots.
Yeah.
And certainly they wouldn't know what my individual trigger is. So, when I'm triggered, that's my job to manage myself. Yes, I could spaz on my child. I could, somebody, if you are to the point where you need to, hit somebody who you know can't hit you back, somebody who's a fraction of your size, you are out of control. You are completely emotionally out of control. And you projecting that onto the kid. So the kid might have, triggered something in you, but that's your work. You're triggered, you own that. So you get to go off and process and be like, why am I triggered? What response am I going to have to this child who should not throw things? They're going to break something, they're going to hurt themselves. Don't throw things in my house. Like there's a lesson there for the child, but there's also how you administer that lesson that can either damage them or damage the relationship or strengthen the relationship and still get the lesson across. If you only have one tool, which is abuse, you need more tools.
You need more tools. I agree. Um, is there anything else? I got through all my questions. I made some notes as
Okay.
we was talking.
Okay.
Why did you agree to come on the podcast?
I think a lot of parents are parenting by default. But some parents are trying to do it differently. And so I like to talk about how I'm doing it differently. I like to talk about all the tools that I have. Like I have a lot of flexibility in my life and in my parenting, but I also have a lot of responsibility that I have to manage in order to ensure that flexibility. So one of the reasons why I wanted to come on is just to communicate that you don't have to do life the way that you've been doing it if you don't like to. And you don't have to do live, be, say who other people want you to be. Like there's room for it all. And so I don't know, in case somebody's interested in a different way of parenting, I wanted to share my way and to share my joy. Yes, it's challenging at times, but in general, it's not. In general, my life is not a challenge. I'm sleepy, yes, but that's the trade-off that I chose. You can choose the trade-off that works for you. I also think that is how we see life is how we're going to train our kids to see it. So the more open and expansive you can see it, the more opportunities your kids will have when they enter life and in the real world. And then lastly, to let people know that the resources at Financial Literacy are available if you don't have the language. We have coloring books. Everything's geared toward young kids. Like we have coloring books, YouTube channel, storybooks. There are more resources coming down the pike with like puzzles and games and apps and different. We have all kind of plans to help the language of money just become more commonplace and less shame based, less fear based, more leadership based, like more intentional about the language of money. We are just interested, like as you can probably hear, my parenting style does not involve a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of labels. And so my teaching style with money doesn't involve any of that either. So a lot of us have such a hard time with money and such a hard time learning about it because we have so much emotion wrapped up in it. So my goal in teaching it young is you can teach it without emotion, you can teach it without lack or fear or shame or any of these should, shouldn'ts, whatever. But it is a language that you have to understand, and you can teach your child that language without knowing it yourself. You just need the right tools. And so that's what our organization provides. That is what our work is about. Our YouTube channel is obviously free. So our website, there's free resources on financialliteracy.com. But yeah, I just wanted to support you, Devin, and in the work that you're doing for proactive, positive parenting. I really respect it and appreciate it, and wanted to just add my voice to the conversation.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate your time and input and insights. And You had some good catchphrases. And I wish we had recorded our pre-interview before we did this one live. It was really good. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. Do you have to go, or you want to keep this going? Because I can cut this episode now, and that's it. Or we can roll with a little more if you got time.
We can do, wait, here. I'll be able to tell you 1 second. Be involved.
You gotta
Okay.
go.
I'm good. No, I'm straight.
I'm in for what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
Yeah, we can do 15 minutes.
Okay. Um, what do you think about the episode? What do you think about did you ever feel pushed when in these conversations? Not only this one, but the last one. Do you ever feel like I push you in a negative way?
I feel like we all see from our perspective. And so we all approach things in life from our perspective. And so I feel like your questions very much mirrored your perspective. Hopefully you didn't see my responses as combative. Because I feel like we can see things differently, which could could like start an argument for lack of a better phrase, or it could open it up for dialogue.
Yeah, I think I look more at dialogue. I mean, as an argument, can an argument be constructive? I suppose. I guess dialogue and argument is the same thing.
It is. One of them's just perceived negatively, and one of them is perceived.
How do
Yeah.
you perceive this word manipulate? Is this negative, positive, or neutral?
The connotation is negative, but everything's manipulation. Sales is manipulation. You can manipulate a situation and have good intentions behind it. That
And have a
doesn't
good outcome behind it too.
certainly, which is why it works as a tactic, right? Like you can say, I was watching this interview on Instagram, and the guy was saying that he met a girl, and within like a couple text messages, they had hooked up. But he can never be with somebody who hooked up with him that fast. And
Yeah.
the person he was talking to said, but you have engineered your process so well that you created that outcome. You know exactly what to say, what to do, how to position your words to get the desired result. You have perfected this craft over years and years and years. So because now you manipulated her, you don't respect her anymore. What is that? So the guy was trying to get the first guy to see that he manipulated that situation and then all of a sudden had a judgment about the girl that he manipulated. I think it could go both ways. You can have a good outcome when you're manipulating somebody and a bad outcome. It just depends on it works, is what I'm saying. Like it's a tactic that works. Your intentions, I don't know.
When you said, but okay, I hear what you're saying. But on the other side, when he said he can't be with somebody who can hook up with somebody that fast, no matter you can't, you got to stand for something or you fall for anything. A woman who's going to fall for that, she not standing on principles that would have me drop on one knee and ask for your hand in marriage. Your principles are not in line with a woman I'm gonna spend my life with. You should not. I shouldn't be able to manipulate you to do that.
But you did. Why did you try to manipulate her? If your goal was marriage, then why was you trying to get her
Yeah,
to
well, I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, okay, it's a time thing. Right now, my goal is not marriage. Or he could be saying,
I'm saying
what?
you can't judge people for going down the path that you put them on.
Why
You
can't you?
can, but that's just like a scapegoat. Like that's not taking responsibility for your own action.
It's both. And we talked about this on the pre-interview. A lot of times when we come to a conclusion where it's this or that, a lot of times it's both. He could, and I'm not defending him because I don't agree with it, but I'm just looking at the critical thinking side of it. If he just trying to get busy, see, some men look at women like, even Tupac talked about this. Talking about some women are like just for fun, and other women are for marriage. It's it's up to the woman to choose which role she want to play.
But why isn't it up to you to be an upstanding person?
Yeah,
Not
he
you,
should. He should.
Devin, but you, the
Yeah, no,
male.
he should. He
And
should be
why is this
upstanding.
always the women's fault?
I agree. He should be an upstanding person and not do women like that. I agree. At the same time, it's both. She shouldn't be able to be manipulated if she's standing on business. If
What if
she
she
is
wasn't manipulated? What if she just wanted to get busy too?
that's the thing too.
So where's why? So yeah. So what's the judgment about? Like from either side. Why do we need to have an opinion because she wanted to get busy or he wanted to get busy?
If Okay, some people have the end goal of getting busy, some people have the end goal of getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a time frame. Right now, maybe long term I want to get married, but right now I don't want to get married. I just want to get busy. But if I meet somebody now who is not willing to get busy, oh, that's going to perk up my spidey senses. Maybe this person might be eligible for marriage. They might make it to the next phase. What you think about that? Even with a woman, the woman the
Seems like
same
a
way.
lot of
If a
game
man, if a
playing.
man is broke right now, but she see he have potential and ambition, I'm not ready to marry him now, but I can see the probabilities that he may be a good candidate for marriage. What you think about that?
Yeah, sure. Maybe. I think you should marry the person in front of you. Like one of my friends, I remember asking her before she got married to her husband if he never made any more money, if he never was any other title, would you still want him? Like, I don't think it's fair to marry potential because what you're looking at what they can accomplish might not be what they want to accomplish. I think you should like the person that you actually marrying right now, like right here today. And I think that marrying potential is a young person's game. Like, so I tend to, when I do date, I tend to date people that are older. So the people that I date say they're in their 50s. At this point in your 50s, we all have potential. But at this point, I'd like to see what you have done. I would like to see what you have been building. What have you built? I feel like at the age that we are, that's a valid question. Maybe you aren't where you want to be yet. I don't know who is. I don't know who will ever be. Even billionaires are still chasing their next goal. So it's not about being finished and being completed. Um, but I think marrying who somebody might be later is kind of crappy to the person that you're marrying because it means you don't like them. You like whatever your future projection of them is. I don't,
How
I
about
think
both?
that's kind of crappy.
How about both? I do like them, and I see their potential.
Yeah, well, then that means it's more alignment there because you like them right now. So if they never changed, you would still like them in 10 years.
Yeah,
But just to a girl who's looking at a guy's potential, I don't think that's fair to him. I think you should marry somebody who you like and marry somebody who you respect. At least that's what I would like to do. I would like to marry somebody who I like, who I respect. Um, and to a degree, I would want to see how that has played out so far.
yeah. I keep coming back to this idea of the future.
Okay.
Maybe it's me, but I keep thinking about preparing for the future, and I keep hearing maybe I'm hearing you wrong. I keep hearing you say now, be present. I'm looking at the future, and you're looking at present. But at the same time, you say teach children about money now because they're going to need money in the future. So you're looking at the present as far as money, and you're looking at the future as far as money. But when it comes to other things, I'm not hearing future structure. I'm not hearing future rules. I'm hearing present, not too many rules. Present, not enough structure. I'm having a hard time connecting these dots because from my studies, adventurer parents, not to say that that's the only thing, but that's the highest score. So we all do everything. But if you say that is accurate, a lot of time adventurer parents, their children suffer because they didn't learn rules and structure early. So now, when it's time for the child to get a job, they don't know how to be responsible and keep their job. When it's time to do something responsible, they have a hard time being responsible because they didn't learn how to be responsible. Now, you did say that you was teaching them how to be responsible.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not saying where she's learning how to be irresponsible. And also, I think that your view is from your perspective as a masculine being. Rules and regulation and order would naturally be important to you. As a more feminine being, I don't have as much I just don't need them.
But you need both. You need
I
both.
have both. I have the structure. I have the structure that works for me.
It works for you, but will it work for your daughter?
It well, right, yeah.
How will
But
you know? You
which
won't
is
know until later on.
yes, I because there's not a rule doesn't mean there's not an intention. It just means look when I was talking about rules, tell me where you would put a rule where I don't have one. Like what rules are you seeing that are missing? What structure are you seeing that's missing?
I mean, we only had an hour conversation. I don't
Two
know about the
hours.
whole 24, well, yeah, 2 hour conversation. I don't know what the whole 24 hours looks like. Maybe,
Okay, off the top, just from your what you can perceive.
I don't know. I got to come back to it. This is good though. So this give me something, some homework. Where would you say, where would I fill in the blank? Where should there be a rule?
Yeah, where are you not seeing a rule where it should be one?
Fill in the blank. I don't know. I had to come back to that.
So part of what leadership is in my experience. So first let me say this. A lot of parents, this is the first time you had to lead anything. It's the first time you built anything. The family that people built is the first time they've been in charge of something. So there's learning curves when you're a new leader. And then there's experience. Then you develop experience.
Hmm.
I'm not testing out my leadership style on my child. I have built things and led teams and built teams and hired people and built companies before she got here.
So
So
what advice would you give to young parents who are new? They don't have any experience with leadership. They don't have any experience with parenting. This is my first child. This is my first time being a parent. I don't have no experience. What can I learn from you?
so study. You have a leadership style. You'll learn very quickly if you're managing adults that the way you parent, that's not going to fly with anybody else. You don't just get to go to work and to your office and bark orders at people, not and still have people work for you and not still have people respect you. Certainly you won't get any input out of them. Leadership means that we are accomplishing this vision through multiple people. You have to learn people skills, you have to learn social skills, you have to learn leadership skills. Leadership skills will make your parenting a lot less stressful because control is one form of leadership, dictatorship is one form of leadership. If you review history, how many times has that been successful?
They get overthrown.
Exactly. Why would not look at parenting in the same way? So when you have a boss, you like when they consult you for your opinion. You do your job better than anybody, probably. So your boss needs to listen to you when they're talking about your job. If we translate that over to parenting, that might make your parenting style a little bit more collaborative
I like that
because the person that's doing the thing knows the thing better than the person that's managing the thing. So since most parents
to a
haven't
degree.
had to run anything before, they look at control as a default and they look at you're going to do what I say as a default. But if somebody at your workplace has a better idea, if you have the overall vision for the company in mind, you're going to go with the better idea. Just like if you have the overall vision for your family in mind, you're going to go with the better idea, regardless of who has it, because the company is what you have on your mind or the family is what you have on your mind. So, developing your skills as a leader would make your parenting journey so much smoother because control is one tool and manipulation is one tool, and shame and guilt and all things that we tend to normalize are tools. But you can also use other tools like encouragement, like collaboration, like I don't know, positive reinforcement.
Amen.
These things grow your company and they grow your family and they grow the people within your company and family.
And you keep the connection going. A lot of time,
The point, which is so you want to grow something, you want to scale, you want to expand, you want to serve more people. When you're building a company, you got to be able to work through somebody. And that means you all y'all build together. That is efficient. That's efficiency, right? You being able to do a task through multiple people amplifies the task, which means The world is better because your family is operating or your company is operating at this efficient capacity. That is the point, not you being in control or enforcing arbitrary rules. Even in the workplace, I could have a rule that everybody works from the office, but that is dumb. That is dumb. If somebody else works better from home, they're more efficient at home. They
Hmm.
feel more comfortable and less anxiety and less, maybe they experience less racism from the colleagues. If somebody works better at home, sure you can work at home. Now my office policy is more relaxed. We can work what's best for us. Maybe Mondays we're all in the office because we all need to do our thing, but I'm going to have a more relaxed work environment because I have a bigger goal in mind than just enforcing some arbitrary structure. So, sure, forcing all the government people back to work was a rule, it was structure, it was whatever. But think about the inefficiencies that that created as well. So, we don't just do rules for the sake of rules in any capacity, not in my workplace, not in my home. We don't do structure for the sake of saying we have structure. We do what's going to build the thing. And that is the point. So you have a vision and you reverse engineer it. So I'm fully present in today's moment because I already set the vision and I already know where we're going and I already know the outcome that I want, which means I have to pay attention to today because just like my college savings wasn't going to come out of nowhere, they should have been putting money away then. And I'm not blaming them. Like they had their own
Yeah.
crazy, all them people on one salary, like just whatever. And they did a great job. That never mind that. And that trauma gave me a company. Like I have a whole company because of that one experience as a child. But that doesn't, so you do today, you build the life that you want day by day. It's not going to just all of a sudden come because the future comes. You build it right now.
Yeah. This is I think the audience is going to love this. Guys, if you're watching this replay, put a one in the, if you're watching the replay, let me know if you want to get Michelle back on here one day. I think people they're going to love this, Michelle.
Okay.
I
But
think
you feel me? Like, do you
I
did
feel
you
you.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Collaborate. You had said something. And that's why I'll be writing stuff down because I know I'm gonna forget. But oh, parents. And okay, so being a dictator, yeah, you might get compliance, but there's no connection, and you wonder why the kids don't come visit you. I used to work at a nursing home, and
How did I know that?
yeah, I used to wash dishes,
Okay.
and the kids would just drop the parents off and leave them there, and never come visit them.
I
There,
blame
there was
parents.
no connection.
If your grown child doesn't want anything to do with you, that's your fault.
But
You
also,
should
Michelle,
have took
people
them to the
only know
playground.
they can only do what they know. Our parents did. It wasn't no talk about gentle parenting back in the 80s. It wasn't no talking about mental health back when our parents was coming up. They,
I get that they didn't know and they did their best, but that doesn't absolve them of the consequences of what they did. So yes, you did your best and you did what you know, but your daughter still don't want anything to do with you. You still
yeah,
got to pay the piper.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. But I have a little more grace and a little more forgiveness because you can only do what you know. If you
Yes,
knew better,
but
you
that
would do better.
it was a
How would you
person
know?
on the receiving end of that.
Huh?
It was a human being on the receiving end of that. So it's my job as a parent to increase what I know.
Correct. And Michelle, there was no internet back then. There was no
Oh, I know.
Google. It
No, I
wasn't no
know.
YouTube parent podcast like this. They didn't have the tools that we have now. They didn't have the resources that we have now.
I'm not
We have less
blaming them.
excuse. Huh?
I'm not blaming them. If I overdraft on my checking account inadvertently, like I didn't know, I still got to pay the $39 fee.
Yeah. I mean, I feel you. I don't know, man. And that's I don't know. That's why I do this podcast. Because if you knew better, you would do better. How would you know if nobody tell you? How can anybody tell you if everybody keep this stuff to themselves?
Okay.
Come share the stories so
Yeah.
people can learn from your experience. I don't have to get in a car accident to learn to wear my seatbelt.
Right.
Michelle already told me, Dave, you should wear your seatbelt. Well, let me listen to Michelle. I seen the video. She was flying. Well, maybe I shouldn't say. I seen the video of the crash dummy go
Yeah.
flying through the windshield because he ain't had no seatbelt on.
Uh-huh.
I don't have to go flying through the windshield. I
Right.
can wear my seatbelt now. I don't have to learn the lesson the hard way. I can learn from your experience. It don't have to be my experience.
Right.
So that's why I'm inviting all these parents on to get different points of view, to get different. perspectives and stories from different parenting styles
Hmm.
that other people can relate to. Because I'm sure you're not going to be the only adventurer parent on here. I have another adventure parent,
Oh
strategist,
yeah.
nurturer, whatever.
Hmm.
And collaboration. We can learn together, take a village. How you said, you can't watch your daughter all the time. You got a village.
Right. And so there's structure in my grandparents, I mean, her grandparents' home. She came, maybe. Some of the things that fly here ain't flying in my dad's house.
Yeah.
So she'll learn and she'll come home. I think there's balance in her life in general. And she is more, I don't have to crush her spirit so she can learn to be responsible. There's room for both.
Both.
And she's
Hello.
just as a
Balance.
baby. Yeah.
I
She
agree.
was 5. So then she don't have to be 25. She don't have to come home and cook herself dinner because that's what I saw online. Because other people's 5-year-olds run their own life. That no, she gets to be 5. And that might be triggering to some people who didn't get to be 5 and who didn't get to be free and who didn't get to express themselves. Like that might be triggering to somebody who was lacking that in their own life. Also not my issue. I can hear how it might be triggering.
Yeah. I could do this for another hour, but I suppose you got stuff to do.
I have to have to go to work.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you. This has been a great episode. I hope you got some value out of it. I hope the audience got some value out of it. And Lord willing, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you for your
All right.
time. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, have a good one.
You too.